Hey YouTubers, model kit builders, Resin Maniacs, people who are bored playing on the internet. Welcome back to another fascinating episode of Out of the Box with Shakey Dave. Today we have another box. I'm going to guess because it's a model kit related show that there are model kits in this box. Thanks so much for tuning in and bearing with us through all these wonderful episodes. If you like what we're doing here at Resin Maniacs, feel free to drop us a line with any questions you may have or comments. Click the like button, subscribe, join our Facebook page, and be a Resin Maniac. And what we have here today, let's see, I'm not sure, it's a mystery box. It is from a J. Deary shipped to Norbert.ossner. Well, J. Deary happens to be monster from the woods. Let's see what we got. Pull out my trusty hobby knife here, and then I cut. Oh, hopefully there'll be new kit smell about to hit us here in a moment. And sometimes I love opening a new kit, unless it's like from Japan or China, because then I'm always scared like maybe a mosquito got in there and it's going to come out and give me some kind of weird Asian flu or something. But let's see what we got going on here. Today we are going to be reviewing for you a line of classic monster busts. And I'm just going to slide this forward here or here. Oh, wait, hold on. Fuck your house, Nord. All right. Back to the hobby knife. I'll just leave this out. Let's see what we got going on here. Very nicely wrapped and taped. Ooh, not too much tape. Hate it when they use too much tape. And what we have, oh, this is the Wolfman, sculpted by Jeff Yeager. If you don't know who that is, just go ahead and turn off YouTube and go back to your internet porn, because you're not in the hobby. All right. Jeff Yeager is sculptor extraordinaire. He's got quite a history with the hobby because he basically sculpted the very first American Garage kit. He did a Curse of the Werewolf and a Creature Walks Among Us many, many moons ago. Speaking of moons, we'll get back to the Wolfman. Looking at the sculpt here, well, it's pretty much perfect. It's nice. It's got a little bit of turn, a little nuance of movement to it, and the castings are pretty damn sharp. You can see in there a little bit of mold, so whoever's getting this kit after us is going to have a couple of boogers, but no big whoop. You're a model builder, you're not afraid of a little work. And you see, sometimes when kits, a lot of times things with fur and hair, they'll get little bits of the mold in them right there. Easy to pick out with a hobby blade. So, looking the kit over, we have a real faint mold line right there. Usually for getting it out of fur, one thing I like to do is I just have little file sets. I get a little triangular file set and I file with the direction of the fur. And then I take sandpaper and lightly go over to get the mold line off the raised areas of the fur. And generally, because a lot of times what'll hurt is when you have hair or fur, you'll have a big smooth spot. So you might as well have just left the mold line on there. But enough blathering, because, well, we got a lot more in the box here. Let's see what we got here. It's like each a little bitty surprise every time. Get comfortable. This is going to be a long video. So, ooh, and here we have Ardith Bay. Once again, sculpted by Jeff Yeager. And this is just a beautiful piece. Once again, the castings are real nice and solid. And they are solid casts, by the way, but I'm just saying they just have a good feel to them. Very little mold line running up there. You can see he did a little cleaning up for you to start with. That's always good. A little bit of file work in there. And sometimes you'll get a little flash behind the ears like so, and you can just cut it out with your hobby blade like so. This one's a little dull though. And both of these are very nice. They have Very nice little movement to them, as you can see. And they run in 1/4 scale. And what we have here for the Wolfman is his eyes are sculpted blank, so you can put the stare of the eyes wherever you wish. Ardith Bay has the pupils sculpted in already for you. Different kit builders talk about what they prefer. I used to prefer them blank. Now I don't care anymore because it's just fun to paint it either way. And here we have, I think this could be Mr. Hyde. So, and you always find the Frederic March Hyde ends up in the classic monster bunch, even though he wasn't a universal monster. But yeah, he still fits. And yep, it is the Frederic March Hyde. And once again, so far looking at the sculpt on all these, I really can't, I mean, it's Jeff Yeager. You can't really, oh, I mean, that kind of sucked there, you know. Nah. And we're looking, everything solidly cast with these. A little bit of cleanup around the brim of his hat. And a little bit going down the back there. Nothing major, though. And as you can see, he has a great off to the right stare. Other than that, it's basically almost like a straight-on mug shot. And he has the, you know, the trademark kind of sneer in his mouth there. And a lot of kits based on the Frederic March Hyde. And if you've ever seen the movie, you realize it's very dark for its time. So you can see why a lot of kits were based off of it. The Universals are great classics. This one, though, you could tell for its time, it pushed some envelopes. And let's go back to the box for some more. So, and what do we have here? Oh, Dracula. Or as my grandma would say, Dracula. This is Balam Lugosi's Dracula. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe this was the first in the Monster from the Woods series of these quarter scale classic busts. And as always, once again, it's Jeff Yeager, so your likeness is great. And pardon me, we had a little production issue there. Sorry, Norbert. Okay, back to business. So what we're looking at here is a lot of times with the sculpt of Dracula, they'll leave the cowl off. And basically he went ahead and sculpted it on, but it fits very nicely, very easy to paint. One reason why I don't like the cowl being removable in paint is because then you got to go in and Aves it up. And the solvent with Aves eats through paint like crazy. So if you spill a little bit, get a little drop on the skin, it's ruined. But once again, we're looking at a stellar likeness. And for the cleanup, once again, file through there, gentle sanding on the hairline. Little pore spout to be cut off there so it'll fit in his base. And we got a little imperfection here, but so far none of these are anything that couldn't be cleaned up within, I would say, anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes to be paint ready. And we keep digging. Here she is, the beauty herself, Elsa Lanchester. Now, this is one of everybody's favorite pieces to the hobby, the Bride of Frankenstein. Quite possibly because of just the Nefertiti hairstyle, Jack Pierce's makeup. The structure of Elsa's face is just beautiful, and she's a very hard likeness to capture. And Yeager does it really well here. I'm sure if I really sat down and looked it over, you could, I've always just found Elsa Lanchester, Peter Cushing, and Harrison Ford all seem to be real tough likenesses to get. And even when they're good, I can look at them well enough and I can still nitpick them. This one is very beautiful. And something I'm seeing a lot happen now too that I'm liking is her hairstyle in the sculpting is starting to get flattened out in the back. Back in the day, it was almost like a beehive. And when you watch the movie, you see it's nothing like that. So as sculpting has progressed and the hobby's progressed, things have gotten more accurate. And that's what I really like about this bust, is the hair is more accurate to the movie than of kits from years past, because it always went into a more of a round hive shape. She has showing a little bit of movement, almost an expression to her mouth. Looks like she's actually like trying to say something, maybe to emote in some way. And the way the eyes are sculpted, they're very wide, and you see that in the movie. She has a very wide stare. Almost like it is shock, surprise, and maybe just a touch of being feral in a way. And he captured that really well with this. And looking at the stare of it, she could actually be sculpted to where she's looking straight on. I mean painted to where she's looking straight on. Or you could actually have her glancing over, but they're wide enough to where they capture that look she had. So far, you can tell that's probably my favorite so far. I spent a lot of time on it. And then here we have, looks like the future groom. So, and I say future groom because this, if I'm not mistaken, was the second edition to the series, and it's based on the 31 monster. And he hasn't, been the groom yet. Hopefully, Deary and Yeager will team up again for this series and do a Bride of Frankenstein Karloff bust as well to go with Elsa here. But I digress. Here we're looking at the 31 monster, one of the most iconic makeups in horror history. And looking at the likeness, once again, with Yeager, it's perfect. But me being a stickler for Frankenstein, I'd say the neck could be just a hair thinner, a little more gaunt. Sorry about that, Mr. Yeager. But I do own this bust personally. It was when I first saw it come out, I think it was about a year or two ago, I jumped right on it. And looking at the casting here, we could clearly see that there are some bolts. I'm sure they're floating around in this box somewhere, but your bolts go in there. A little bit of mold line around the edge, and we're looking at some resin boogers deep down around the collar. And that's most likely because this piece is about 2 years old. So someone probably got a big blue hunk a while back there. Now, a lot of times when I do these kits and I look at kits, I'm not a real heavy judge, of casting, because I'm not afraid of doing some cleanup work unless I'm paying an ultimate premium price. If I'm paying $300 for a 6-scale figure, I better open the box, paint ready. But these are very affordable pieces. They're $60 each plus shipping. And I don't mind a little work. I kind of enjoy it. It's relaxing. So don't let little things like this, when you see a kit, don't let it deter you from the work. This kind of stuff makes you a better modeler. So, and looking at it, once again, out of the whole set, this is one of the oldest pieces, and I'd say it needs the most work. Maybe take you 45 minutes, if that. Pop on a movie and get to it. And there's even more in the box. We have realistic peanuts. All right, let's see what we got here. Bases. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, 6 bases, 6 plus. All right, let's see. Let's match kits to bases. I believe we have the Dracula base. Yep. Dracula base was sculpted by Mark Van Tine. So what we have here, when you cut off this pour spout right here, he's going to fit right in there. And one of the cool things about him is you can turn to fit the figure how you wish. And it's a simple plug. You could run a pin through there, but honestly don't think you need to. So we're looking at, we got old Dracula there with his base. And then we are looking here at Ardith Bay's base. Don't worry, I'll let the dog eat the peanuts. And this base right here was sculpted by Brian McGuire. Now, these bases, when they first come, this one was originally produced by another kit producer, and it fit the line so perfectly. And when the producer decided to retire, he hooked up with Deary to continue the line, which only makes sense. So Deary took over the reins of this, but he kept the original Jaeger base, and it's kind of a half a bulb. And I like that as well too. They all have that. It's nice, it's simple. But Deary took a little step further, and it gives each base a little bit of personality. And you could see what in the sculpting, it doesn't detract from the likeness at all. In fact, it helps build the character of the entire piece, and that's what good sculptors do. And this is good sculptors working together, because once again, the bases were done. This one was Mark Van Tine. This was Brian McGuire, and the likenesses, of course, are Jeff Yeager. And here we have another, and we're looking at, this is the Wolfman's base here. And this is very nice. Tree stump here, you know, because he liked to run around in the woods. And one thing that could be really cool that you could do with your Dremel tool is you could like chisel in a little mark of the werewolf somewhere in there. Or what might be cool is when you totally paint it, like on the rock there, do the mark of the werewolf and like some spilt blood and do some spatters, little things like that. And that's the sign of a good piece, is when you can just look at a piece and like that come up with a couple little ideas. And another good thing is, because these stems are so hardy and they're just resin, easy to just take a hacksaw and cut to the height you wish. Me personally, I'd cut the Wolfman down a little more, and possibly Ardith Bay here a little more as well too. And then next we are looking at this one right here, this guy. No. We're looking at Mr. Hyde's base. Now, it's a simple stone base, but it also lends itself to where, if you know, he was a doctor and a chemist and somewhat of a mad scientist. So what you could easily do with this base, and what I would plan to do when I build it, is I would buy those little jars and bottles you find at Hobby Lobby, maybe fill them with some little liquid and kind of put them in there, maybe some books and some rags. And you could just make a little small Dio-esque like laboratory right there. It's got a real small footprint. It doesn't detract too much from the likeness, but you could really open it up. Like, for example, set it like that so everything opens up with its flow going out, and have everything, maybe even having it spill off the edge. These have a lot of potential. Same with Dracula. You could have things, a river of blood going down the steps. Lots of, I don't know, I just like things like that can spark little spurts of creativity going on there. And here we have the bride and groom bases. Nice, simple stone. I know one kit collector who is hooked up with Deary, and he's collecting the entire series, and he's doing every one with this. And the reason is so when it's across his shelf, it has a nice continuity to it, which I think is a really great idea as well too, because it's just, bam, it's done. And you could do it as dry stone. You could get it all murky and nasty and do it like a damp dungeon-esque. But it's very simple, very easy. And as you can see, once you cut her hunk off, she'll go in just fine as well too. And as you can see, it'd look good if the whole series is the same, or if they're all, you know, lined up differently as such and so. So what we're looking at here, I feel like I'm forgetting the bus, but no, this is it. This is the set right here. And these are very affordable, 60 bucks. And what's so cool about them is they go over just a weekend project. A good bus like this might take you a week or so to do, you know, sitting down each night, because just the skin detail on Ardith Bay, for example, is just absolutely stunning. The teeth and the crow's feet on Mr. Hyde there. I mean, the likenesses are perfect. They're a painter's dream, and a good kid. And the good thing about something like this is with the castings, they're good castings. They need some work that's not out of the norm. So if you're just getting into the hobby, this is going to show you what a little bit of sanding, you know, on some fur, and a little bit of, you know, polishing it out on the clothes. So these are great if you're just new to the hobby or if you're an experienced builder. And you can contact Monster from the Woods at jdeary03@windstream.net. $60 each plus shipping, and I'm sure that if you want to buy the whole set, he'll make you a really good deal on that as well too. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and if you made it to the end of the video, because I know this is a long one, but we had a lot to cover. I'm sure there's some details about these busts I forgot to include because it's tricky. You're trying to give good content, you're trying to give good coverage, but you got to kind of summarize and gloss over at the same time. And I blather a lot. So, once again, thanks for tuning in. If you like what you're bringing us, please feel free to comment on the YouTube page, subscribe to our channel, comment on Resin Maniacs Facebook. If you're not a Resin Maniac, besides that not being our problem, join up. It's fun. And come to Resin Maniacs. Share your build-up pictures with us, especially if you have any of the kits you see me review. Comment on the video with pictures of your paint-ups. We'd love to see them, seriously. And once again, thanks for tuning in, guys. And we'll see you around the boards and hopefully at Wonderfest.